વિદ્યાર્થી મિત્રો, ગુડ આફ્ટરનૂન. આજે આપણે ડિઝાઇન ઓફ એક્સપેરિમેન્ટ ઉપર ભણવાના છીએ. આપણી સાથે આવ્યા છે કેતન ગજ્જર મણિનગર સાયન્સ કોલેજમાંથી, દીપ્તિબેન ભાવસાર સેટ સીએન કોમર્સ કોલેજમાંથી. હવે આપણે ડિઝાઇન ઓફ એક્સપેરિમેન્ટ શરૂ કરીશું. હવે ડિઝાઇન ઓફ એક્સપેરિમેન્ટ્સ તમને ખ્યાલ જ છે. ફર્સ્ટ વી સી વોટ ઇઝ ધી ડિઝાઇન ઓફ એક્સપેરિમેન્ટ ઓર એક્સપેરિમેન્ટલ ડિઝાઇન. So often the experimenter is interested in the effect of some process or intervention, the treatment on some objects, the experimental units, which may be people, parts of people, groups of people, plants, animals, etc. For this purpose, the experimenter undertakes full control or part control experiments to gather all information for analysis. What is design of experiment or experimental design? Such designs of all informations gathering exercises where in variation is present is popularly known as design of experiments. It may be under the full control of the experiment or not. Design of experiment is thus a discipline of statistics that has very broad applications across all the natural and social sciences. How design of experiment originated. In 1747, a surgeon Mr. James Lind, H.M., Bark celebrity in the USA, carried out a controlled experiment to develop a cure for scurvy disease. Lind selected 12 men from sheep, all suffering from scurvy disease, and divided them into 6 pairs, giving each group different additions to their basic diet for a period of 2 weeks. The treatments were all remedies that had been proposed at one time or another. There are a quart of side food every day, 25 guts means drops of sulfuric acid 3 times a day upon an empty stomach, 1/2 pint of sweet water every day, a mixture of garlic, mustard and horseradish, a spoonfuls of vinegar 3 times a day, 2 oranges and 1 lemon every day. Results. The man who had been given citric juice recovered dramatically within a week. One returned to duty after 6 days and the other became nurse to the rest, while others experienced some improvement, but nothing was comparable to the citric foods, which were proved to be substantially superior to the other treatments. This was first introduction of design of experiment in its remuneration from. Who first introduced design of experiment in statistics? Mr. Charles S. Peirce was first to introduce. The theory of statistical inference was developed through his books Illustration of the Logic of Sciences and A Theory of Probable Inferences. These 2 books emphasized the importance of a randomization based inference in statistics. Prior to penning the books, Mr. Charles S. Peirce randomly assigned volunteers to a blinded and repeated measures designed to evaluate their ability to discriminate weights. How optimal designs for regression models in design of experiment got introduced. Mr. Charles S. Peirce also contributed the first English language publication on an optimal design for regression models in 1876. Later, a pioneering optimal design for polynomial regression was suggested by Mr. Gergon in 1815. Thereafter, in 1918, Christine Smith published optimal designs for polynomials of degree 6 and less, and modern principle of experimental design introduced by R.A. Fisher. We know, all of you further know the name of R.A. Fisher. Modern methodology for designing experiments was proposed by Mr. R.A. Fisher in his innovative book entitled The Design of Experiments. As an example, the distributed how to test the hypothesis that a certain lady could distinguish by flavor alone whether the milk or the tea was first placed in the cup. While this sounds like a Favore's applications, it allowed him to illustrate the most important ideas of experimental design. What is the basic principle in design of experiment? Entire analysis of the design of experiments is built on the foundation of the analysis of variance. ANOVA, a collection of models in which the observed variance is partitioned into components due to different factors which are estimated and or tested. Famous example of Mr. Harold Hotelling in design of experiment. In this example, the weights of 8 objects were measured using a par balance and a set of standard weights. Each weighing measures the weight difference between objects placed in the left pan versus any objects placed in the right pan. By adding calibrate weights to the lighter pan until the balance is in equilibrium. Each measurement has a random error. The average error is 0. The standard deviations of the probability distribution of the errors is the same number sigma on different weighings, and errors on different weighings are independent. Now we consider two different experiments. In one we consider weigh each object in one pan with the other pan empty. Let xi be the measured weight of the ith object for I is equal to 1 to 8. And in the second experiment we consider do the 8 weighings according to the following schedule and let yi be the measured differences for I is equal to 1 to 8. Then the estimated value of the weights theta 1 is theta 1 cap is y1 plus y2 plus y3 plus y4 minus y5 minus y6 minus y7 minus y8 divided by 8, and similar estimates can be found for the weights of the other item. For example, is theta 2 cap is this. The question in design of experiment is which experiment is better? The variance of the estimate x1 of theta 1 is sigma square if we use first experiment. But if we use the second experiment, the variance of the estimate given above is sigma square by 8. Thus the second experiment gives us 8 times as much as precision for the estimate of a single item and estimates of all items simultaneously with the same precision. However, note that the estimates for the items obtained in the second experiment have errors which are correlated with each other. Now we see step-by-step procedure in the effective design of experiment. Select problem. First step is to select problem. In order to design an experiment, a problem has to be selected and phrased. It is a selection and phrasing of the problem that will direct the design and outcomes of an experiment. The simplest and most concise way of phrasing a problem is by addressing the who, what, when, why and how questions. First distinction is between states versus process problem. These are two main types of research problems that can lead to different research designs. The interest of a state problem is in the given state of phenomena, whereas the interest of a process problem is in the change of a phenomena over time. Now the second step is determining dependent variables. The dependent variables are the variables that are being measured throughout the experiment. There can be many different dependent variables measured during an experiment. First, we need to split the dependent variables into two different subcategories, system level and individual level. On a system level, questions are taken into consideration regarding the experiment. itself taking place. System level variables need to be created to ensure that when the conclusion is reached, it is backed up by as many different angles as possible to support the conclusion. This idea is known as converging operations. For example, a system level dependent variable is how many experimenters are used during certain tasks. On an individual level, the dependent variables are measurements of a particular subject. Individual level dependent variables need to be reducible and analyzable measurements. If the experiments were repeated identically, the individual variables need to provide identical data while removing all risk possibles. For example, the amount of time it takes for a certain participant to complete a task. Both system level and individual level dependent variables need to be concentrate enough that the audience reading the experiment will accept the found data. Dependent variables can include performance measures, subjective measures, and physical response. Performance measures include examples such as how long it took for the participants to complete the task as well as the number of mistakes that were made. Subjective measures include whether or not the participants preferred the method used and how many scales were used during the experiment. Finally, physical responses include injuries that occurred or changes in psychological measurements. Now, the third step is determining independent variables. The independent variables are the variables that are manipulated in the experiment. If we focus on experimental research design, it is true that we need to manipulate the independent variables such as the dose of the treatment drug or stress level in each group. On the other hand, if the research design is not an experimental design, the researcher does not have to manipulate the independent variable. For example, the researcher might be interested in relationship between cigarette smoking and socio-economic status of the respondents. In this case, socio-economic status is a non-manipulative but still an observable independent variable. Independent variable is a variable that is of interest because of its relation to or influence on an outcome variable. Another important variable category needs to be discussed because it is tend to be confused with independent variables. Sometimes variables such as age and race can be included in the design not because the researcher is interested in its influence on the outcome variable, but to further explore the relations with independent and outcomes variables. These variables are called background variables. These variables, for example, age is a background variable in a study of the effect of medical treatments. The independent variable on patients' health condition outcome variable to explore whether treatment effects differ between patients of different age. Now, the fourth step is determining the number of levels of independent variables. The number of levels of independent variables determines the number of experimental conditions to be manipulated. This is important in determining the extent of the scope of the experiment. For example, if an experimenter were to design an experiment to examine the relative performance of 10 automobiles, the independent variable, in this case, the type of automobile, would have 10 levels. Now, the fifth step is determining the possible combinations. The types of combinations between the independent variables have to be established in order for the experiment to be valid. Using the earlier example of automobiles, it may not be feasible to compare model A with an automatic transmission with model B, which has a mutual transmission. Therefore, it is important to establish the possible types of combinations. Now, the sixth step is determining the number of observations. It is insufficient to obtain one observations. Depending on the desired analysis, there are certain factors that need to be taken into consideration when deciding on the number of observations. This includes the number of trials before a subject becomes familiar with the experiment, the number of trials before fatigue sets in, and the number of trials required to obtain statistically significant data. Now we have to redesign. This is the seventh step. Redesign is necessary in order to obtain the optimal design. When flaws or inconsistencies are found in the current experiment design, a redesign is necessary to correct them. Examples of flaws and inconsistencies include inaccurate statement of the problem, choosing the wrong variables and not being able to obtain the required apparatus. The recommended time frame for redesigning is as follows: 45% planning and scheduling, 5 to 10% for testing, and 45 to 50% for reduction, analysis, and writing. Now, the main three basic principles of experimental designs are replication, randomization, and blocking. Blocking means local control. Now we see the first principle, replication. By replication, we mean a repetition of the basic experiments. Replication